So, last Friday there was some good news on the home front. Real estate resales rose in September to the highest level in more than 2 years, beating expectations. The main reason may be buyers scrambling to complete their purchases before a tax credit for first-time owners expires. Here to talk more about that, Dean Rouso, owner of Prime Property Partners. It's great to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you.
People have so many questions about this program. We talk about them scrambling to get ahead of it before it expires. A lot of people are wondering if maybe the federal government is going to extend or expand it.
And they may, and we're not sure.
Yeah.
So the action that somebody needs to take today is assume they don't, because if they wait till a week before and then they don't, it's going to be too late.
People will really be kicking themselves.
They will.
And it's tough to second guess what the federal government's going to do. The logical step, you would think, would be to churn the economy by expanding this and giving people more incentive to jump into the market, but we just don't know.
We just don't know. I mean, there's a cost involved to extending it. Certainly, National Association of Realtors has done everything they can, and all the realtors in America, to really push for it. And there's tons of governmental agencies that really think it's a good idea, but who knows? You get a lot of questions from a lot of people. I think we have a graphic to illustrate some of the points that you advise people on. What do you tell folks who are asking you these questions? For example, point number one, create a timeline. What does that mean? Well, I think at this point in time, this only being 5 weeks out, and by the way, let's get this straight.
Your timeline's got to be short.
We need to close by November 30th. So on December 1st, it's too late. Now, we've got a Thanksgiving holiday in there. So we've got to consider that. So we have 5 weeks to get the job done. And so today, the first thing you should do is create a timeline with your realtor and work backwards with a closing date perhaps of November 25th, the day before Thanksgiving, and look at every single segment of what's necessary to get closed and how much time you have for each and every single one.
Make sure you have those financial ducks in a row and in a hurry. Assemble your team.
Well, you really need a team. I mean, the realtor is the center of the transaction, but you need a team, as you said, with the financial people, the mortgage broker. You need a team with home inspectors all ready to go, because when you get a contract on the property, you got to be ready to snap into action.
And things can come up. We all know that anyone who's bought a home knows that last-minute details can throw the process out of whack, and one of those might be financing.
Absolutely. So what you really want to do with the financing, Tom, is you really want to be ready. You really want to have contacted a really strong lender and get all the paperwork requirements out of the way now, so that once you get a contract, you're not scurrying to find paperwork.
The financing question is especially important now, would you say, because a lot of lenders are reticent, as we know.
Well, good lenders can get a deal done and closed within 2 or 3 weeks if it's conventional. If it's FHA, and now about 54% of the market is FHA buyers, we need to make sure that that lender is authorized by FHA to approve or underwrite their own loans. If you go to a lender that's sponsored FHA, it could take 5 or 6 weeks, and that's out of the window.
Important tip, then look for your home. That's a lot of work to do before you even look for your home.
That's right. It is a little bit of work, and it can be done quickly. I mean, with a good realtor, you'll get it done quickly. But looking for your home, one of the things you want to keep in mind is you need to look at properties that can be closed by the end of November. Short sales aren't going to work at this point in time. So you need to stay away from that, and those are marked in your listings as to if they're short sales.
Of course, because if you're trying to short with the bank, you're going to have to invest the time in the process. Write the offer.
And when you're ready, write that offer. So write the offer and then be ready to snap that timeline action plan into effect so that you can get those home mortgages completed and get the inspections completed.
The downside, the timeline is short given what the federal government is doing with this program, but on the upside, there's a lot of inventory out there.
There is. There are plenty of choices out there today. Obviously, prices have declined to a point where they're very attractive, and the key issue is, so are the rates.
Fantastic, fantastic. We'll be hearing more from you. You're sticking around till 1 p.m., right?
I'll be here.
Hosting a live web chat. Viewers can ask Dean real estate questions. Just go to WGNTV.com. You'll find a link at the top of the page. Post your questions there, and Dean will try to answer just as many as he can during our newscast today. Allison?
All right.
Thanks, Angie. Well, still with Money News, we're answering your real estate questions this midday.
Dean Rouso, the owner of Prime Property Partners, is conducting the live web chat in our newsroom. And Dean, what are some of the more common questions you've been getting?
Well, probably the most common question that I'm getting right now is, do you think that the first-time homebuyer tax credit will be extended?
I knew it. They're just like I asked you in the interview. They want you to crystal ball it, and that's tough to do, isn't it, Dean?
Well, it's real tough. I mean, the problem is that nobody will know until it's too late to take advantage of it if they don't. So we won't know till probably a week before the expiration date.
Good stuff. Dean's got great answers to a lot of questions in there.
Oh, Dean, one more question before we let you go. I've got a couple of neighbors who've had their property on the market for a while. One is trying to rent. What's your best advice to those sellers who are still looking for buyers in this slow market?
Well, if they need to sell, that's something different than if they want to sell or prefer to sell. So if they need to sell, they really need to consider three things. One is pricing. Absolutely be very, very competitive in that market. That's probably the key issue, but preparation. And then make sure you're with a realtor who is marketing like crazy.
Good advice.
Dean, thank you.
Send your questions to WGNTV.com. Still to come this midday, a former Cubs favorite.